Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Barkhouse Live. I'm Kathy Tarchioni, and this is the co-host, Coco Dean. He's from Barkhouse in New Mexico, Las Cruces, New Mexico. Good morning, Coco.
Good morning, Kathy. Thanks for having me.
Well, actually, this is your show, and this is the launch of your show. And we wanted to talk about what the Barkhouse is all about. So what is the Barkhouse all about?
Well, Barkhouse is something exciting that we're trying to bring here to Las Cruces, New Mexico, and to serve southern New Mexico. It's basically a compilation of several nonprofit organizations that we've already been operating for a time, and we're going to compile them all together to be a solution-based facility that will help with New Mexico's pet overpopulation issue. We here are seeing a whole lot of animals, being euthanized just due to overpopulation in the shelters, and unfortunately, not enough space in the rescues and things like that is causing us to see adoptable animals, good animals, being put down, and we're looking to solve that issue.
Okay, so where did the idea come from?
This is a passion project by a good friend and a mentor now of mine, Kelly Barker. She has been an advocate for animals for many, many years, and she has put together, these different nonprofits separately that had a very, very pointed mission. And it was always the idea to bring it, into one facility that could accommodate these solutions, if you will. And this was basically her idea, her vision, her dream, and we're now working to make it a reality.
Well, Kelly's been a dear friend of mine for many years, and boy, I could totally attest to her ability to get things done. And now that you're on board too, Coco, I can't see anything but greatness for the Barkhouse. So let's go through exactly what the components of Barkhouse are at this moment. Okay, so this is like a fresh new approach on solving the overpopulation issues. And how are we going to do that? I'm going to go to the next slide here so that you can talk upon that. Okay.
Okay.
Whoops, what happened here? What happened? Uh-oh. Oh, well. I'm trying to do a slide. Well, there we go. Let's try this again. There we go. There we go. Okay. Technology, folks. The god of technology wasn't with us for a second there. Okay, let's talk about the low-cost spay and neuter.
Oh, yeah. So one of the main components of our facility will be we'll have a high volume, low cost spay and neuter clinic, which, in talking with many of the animal advocates, at the task force meetings and things like that, that's a much needed resource that just doesn't exist in our area right now. At least not one that operates full time that, the public can access. So we will have a vet team dedicated specifically to high volume, low cost spay and neuter. So we can really, really attack that population issue that exists currently. That way, in the future, we're not having unwanted litters, and that can produce thousands and thousands of animals, which is what has contributed to our overpopulation issue as we see it now. So, I call our magic number 15,000 is what we're trying to accomplish every single year, spay and neuter. So, if we're operating full time, 6 days a week, trying to knock out, 50 in any given workday, we can achieve that number every year. So, that would be a huge, huge dent in solving our overpopulation issue alone, just that one division. And, it's statewide, it's recognized as a need. Just this past year, Senate Bill 57 was passed, which makes an allotment for spay and neuter across the state. So even at the state level, they know that spay and neuter is necessary in order to, help the problem that New Mexico as a whole faces.
Okay, so now let me ask you this: with all of the products that you have for the Barkhouse, what is the current situation right now? I know that vaccination and microchip and spay and neuter, are the shelters doing this right now? And if they are, is it very costly, or why is this making such a big difference?
Well, spay and neuter right now is being done and by private vets ultimately. So we have, pop-up clinics that come through and, can start to somewhat make a dent in that issue. And they're able to spay and neuter animals, sometimes 2 days a week, and sometimes not even, they don't operate on any given week. So it doesn't exist in a full-time, on a full-time basis. So, and when those pop-ups do come up, they're full. I mean, the need is always there. It's a constant need. So we've got, it happening on a part-time basis when we've got more than a full-time problem.
Okay, so what you're saying is that it's not really organized. It's just kind of helter-skelter, and they let the community know when the pop is going to be out there. And then somebody's got to do the scheduling, you got to do the organizing, you got to get the pets in and out. And it can be not only consuming, but trying to get volunteers that are going to help and paid employees. It really takes a village to
Correct.
get it all together.
Exactly. I mean,
So,
everybody's working.
yeah.
These people are definitely working hard with the best of intentions. The problem is, what I've noticed is a common theme in all the discussions I've had with these task force members and what have you is resources. They need more resources.
Yeah.
And so, the shelter is doing, what they can to keep up with, the spay and neuter. And they do offer some public, but, they've got their population of animals that that their vets have to take care of. And, it's just a very, very daunting task. So, unfortunately, we're not meeting the need right now and not even really coming close. So We're trying to provide that resource that everybody has been asking for to really, really see this through and make a big impact.
Okay, so that brings us to the vaccination and the microchips. And a lot of people say, "Oh, my dog doesn't need to have, or my cat doesn't need to have vaccinations because they're inside," and they don't realize that that's part of a health issue.
Right.
So I think that education is also important too, which Barkhouse also brings to the community as an educational component of why spay, neuter, vaccination, and microchips are very important. If you lose your dog and your dog is running around the neighborhood, and if they're not microchipped, then shame on you.
Right.
Right?
No, that's exactly right. And same if they're not vaccinated, you don't know who they're going to be, what other animals they may be.
Whoops. Okay, so let's go to the next slide here. Okay, and then there's transport, which is a fabulous component. Do you want to share with us about how this works, Coco?
Yeah, so transport, even without a facility, we've already been operating transporting of animals. So one of the things that we've done to combat, the existing pet population, the overpopulation, if you will, is we have been taking animals from the shelter, from rescues, sourcing our animals where the need needs to be met. And we are able to fly them or transport them by bus to our partner rescues in different states. So, and they're completely no kill. They have on-site adoptions, and we've had a great deal of success. So, for 2020, we already have 8 flights scheduled to take place when there's an average of, I believe 65 animals per flight. So, on eight flights that we've got scheduled for this year, we're able to take 520 animals and send them to where they can be adopted, as opposed to, remaining in the shelter and facing the possibility of euthanasia.
Okay, so then what you're really saying too is that if these dogs or cats weren't transported somewhere, they could be euthanized if they don't get a foster home or somebody that will adopt them. Is that correct?
That's correct. I mean, with all the best of intentions, what's happening is the local adoptions are not meeting the need to reduce the pet population. So as that happens, we see that, like I said, these good adoptable animals find themselves, having to be euthanized for the sake of space, because the intake just greatly exceeds, what is coming out of the shelter. So we're trying to, flip that on its head by taking these animals and being able to send them somewhere that they'll undoubtedly find, families and homes, and
Right.
just make that change. So, and it's tricky. There's a lot of logistical considerations involved in that. So that's why, bringing Barkhouse in as a facility would be a great help to that cause. So like I said, right now we've been able to do for the year 8 transports. Once we have the facility and can control the logistics and, the intake and, housing our animals and ensuring that all of them are spayed and neutered and ready for transport, we're hoping to upscale that initially to biweekly transport. So 26 transports a year. So that puts, I believe, the potential number, right out the gates to 1,690 animals that we can put on these transports and send to, no-kill rescues where they will be adopted and find their homes.
Wow.
So that scales up. I mean, that's just right out of the gates. Now, our goal, once we get the facility running and we start to get, we identify more receivers and, we get that all rolling, we can do weekly transports. Like I said, via bus, flights out of the airport here in Las Cruces. And so we're talking over 3,300 animals once we can get to our weekly transport goal.
Wow. And then, of course, you've got the dogs that are pregnant in the shelters. And now you've got another program that kind of piggybacks on everything called the last litter. So it really, it all fits all together. It's more like a comprehensive full service pet facility. That's what Barkhouse is. Yeah.
It
so
is.
What about,
sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, so tell us about last litter. What is that about?
Well, everything that, we do there is solution based for, controlling the pet overpopulation issue and solving it humanely. Of course, we want to make sure that every animal we touch has the opportunity to, end up in a home and, find their way out of the shelter system. So last litter is a really, really cool idea, and it's something that has already been functioning. What we do is we take not just from the shelter, but we also can take, from private owners and things like that. When there's a litter that happens and they've, they can no longer take care of it without assistance, we're a resource that they can come to, and they can bring us the mama dog, the puppies, and we provide neonatal services for the puppies. We make sure that they're taken care of. The mom is there with them up until the point that they can be weaned. In order to be eligible for that, though, when they bring us the animals, the mama and the puppies, what they're doing is they're bringing them to us, and we will spay the mama dog, and then of course take care of the puppies. The spay is important because then we're ensuring that is that dog's last litter for sure, which is where the name comes from. We want that to be the last litter that mom will ever have, helping with that overpopulation issue, of course. And then that way we're also just not used as, for lack of a better term, a dumping ground for people just to continue, bad behavior and, these constant litters of puppies and bringing them. No, we'll take care of them for you. We will take the puppies for you. We'll get them to the point that they are weaned. Then those pups will, end up on transports to where they can go and get adopted and find homes. We take care of all that. Okay.
So based on that, what kind of impact will Barkhouse have on southern New Mexico?
The impact will be immediate. I mean, we are already doing the transports. We are already showing, we have proof of concept that, we can take a number of animals and start to chip away at this and start to see the decline in euthanasia rates and things like that. But once we are functioning and we can reach our weekly transport goals and really just act as a resource that, the shelters and these rescues can come to, we can bring in year 1, Las Cruces and southern New Mexico down to absolutely 0 kill. That is our ultimate goal, and we can do that in our first year of operation.
Oh, so what is the mission?
The mission is exactly that: no kill. We don't want to see any animals, good adoptable animals, being euthanized just for lack of space. We want to bring the shelter population down. We want to make sure that we're educating, our local population and making sure, that they have the resources, convenient resources available to them. That way they can, be the responsible pet owners that I believe people do want to be, but there's these barriers that prevent them from being able to, to see it forward, whether it's, lack of educational materials. They don't understand, like you said, why they need to get their pets vaccinated, microchipped, those kinds of things. We want to educate. And then, we want to make sure that a barrier isn't in place, a financial barrier for them to be able to, receive that spay and neuter for their animal. That is just pivotal in order to change the culture of our local area and to solve our problem once and for all, and see that, we're not needlessly killing animals in our shelters. And New Mexico can, achieve that through our mission.
Okay, so that brings us now to actually the community. You as a community resource. Barkhouse has so many components to it that are all intermingled and interchanged with each other. The community resources want to explain that to us?
Yeah, so I mean, when we talk about being a community resource, we mean, not just within the animal welfare community. We're talking about the full community. We're talking, with local businesses. We're talking, just different and innovative ways that we can reach out to the population at large. We've got a great set of people here that are, within our animal welfare and animal, rights community. But, as it is, we're still very niche. So we're trying to reach everybody. If I could literally get into, the ears of everybody, all 100,000 in Las Cruces population, I would love to be able to do that and explain to them what we're doing and what our mission is. And so we're going to, have things available. We're going to have, printed materials with education. Of course, we're going to try to put that out there, try to get into schools, and really, really nurture the idea of being a responsible pet owner, from the ground up. We're going to have things for, where the shelter can bring us their overflow animals. If they've got too many animals they need spayed and neutered, bring them to us. We will take care of it for you because we are solution based. We want to just see it happen, and we're willing to take that on. Same with rescues. We want to, be there for rescues for when they have needs, and they do. They have, if they have any kind of need, like just such things like office space where they want to gather their people and have meetings and things like that, just things that aren't always readily available. We want to provide that. Then there's going to be other community things that are going to reach, pet owners. We want to have a community food bank where people can come and donate, pet food and things like that for, someone who may, especially right now with, with this whole COVID thing going on, when uncertain things happen and, money is a barrier, people can come to us and get the things they need in order to keep their pets fed and things like that. So we've got, some ideas that we're ready to move forward with, including, foster signups, having a database of, available fosters. There's lots and lots of ways that, Barkhouse as a central location can really affect change.
Okay, and then in addition to that, you now have Barkhouse Live, which is a way for people to see behind the scenes of how you're building Barkhouse and what is really happening and what tremendous resources it really takes to get it all together. So I commend you on that because people do want to see what's going on behind the scenes. Right now, you've got an open area where this is what you want to do, but hopefully in a very short period of time, Barkhouse will be up and running and very operational. So I look forward to seeing all the improvements and additions and everything that you're doing with Kelly and you, Coco.
Well, thank you. Yeah. And we're appreciative for, you allowing us, to come in here and talk about, what it is we're doing. We think it's very important. We're very excited. We've got a lot of, big things happening and things beginning to move and shake. And, so I look forward to sharing this all with you and the community at large.
Okay. And then now why is this important to you personally?
For me, there's a lot of things. I love animals. I've got 3 rescue dogs of my own that I keep here, and they've come to us. We've gotten some from the local shelter, and one actually showed up at our doorstep and we ended up adopting it as well. And I recognize the need, and it's just something that's near and dear to my heart, my family, my wife. We all believe in this cause, and it's something that if we have a resource available, we can make this happen truly. And it's just like, if we can, why don't we? So it's just something that I believe in. I know Kelly believes in it deeply. This is something she has really, really been impassioned about. And, that's another thing, my respect and love for Kelly, just bouncing this, back and forth off of each other. It's just like, we have to do this. This is such a good idea. It's going to be big for the community, and it's going to help so many animals, reach homes that they should. So it's a personal project, but it really also falls into wanting to see this happen for Kelly.
Well, ditto. I ditto that for sure. So you've got your vision and you've got your mission, and it now what is it going to take? It's going to take investment. It's going to take people that are going to roll up their sleeves and say, "Okay, I'm in. I want to help." It's going to take the community to become aware, so we can have more live broadcasts and have some town hall live virtual shows so that the community can get involved, the shelters, the fosters, the rescues.
Mm-hmm.
And I can see everybody coming together as a unit and help to build Barkhouse, because really it has been designed not for you and Kelly, but for the community.
That's
to
right.
help these animals that are in need. It's been a sore subject of mine for over 50 years already, about the overpopulation. And it's still the same thing. What can we do? What can we do? When you see that there is a solution and an answer right in front of your eyes, sometimes I do not understand why people don't embrace it and say, I'm all in, I can help. So this is really a show to say, hey folks, you really should be involved with this too.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I know that you are the solution, and you are ready. You guys are ready.
Yes, we are. We cannot wait to kick this off, because it's important, and like you say, we can get people on board. And Las Cruces has a reputation for being a very, very generous community. And there was a recent article that they're in the top 10 in the nation for generosity, and I see it every day. So we are a perfect community to get this started in, and I really hope to see something like this beginning to pop up in communities around the country, because we aren't the only community that is experiencing these issues. So we are ready to show what we can do.
Okay, well, is there anything else that you want to leave with telling everyone about this, or are you feeling comfortable that people know what your vision is and know what your mission is, or do you want to add something else?
If they want to learn more about what it is we're doing, tune in to the show, but also, check us out at our website. The website we have set up currently is www.barkhouse-nm.org. We've got a lot more in-depth, about what we're doing there. We're trying to put everything out there in a way that people can understand what it is that we're trying to do, the numbers of, what we can achieve and the impact that we can make. So, if this is something that, speaks to you, and you really have a heart for animals, and want to see, more animals adopted and less being euthanized in the shelter, get in contact with us. We want to hear more ideas. We definitely want to hear from the community what you think, what other needs can be met. Get in touch with us. I would love to hear from you. And I would also love to chat with you if you want to know more. Coco Dean, find me on Facebook. I'm always willing to talk shop and let you know what it is that we're trying to accomplish, because we believe in it and we're ready to move.
Okay. Well, thank you, Coco, for being on the show. And thank you, everyone, for watching Barkhouse Live. We'll be coming back to you very, very quickly. And you guys, please contact Barkhouse, be part of the team, be part of the solution. Okay. We already, it's a wish to be able to have a life and a livelihood. A life and a livelihood. We know that, but these are lives that they can't take care of themselves. They need our help. They are voiceless. And Coco, you and Kelly are giving a voice to the voiceless. And what a great idea of Barkhouse. I'm totally in 100%.
Well, thank you, Kathy. We
So,
appreciate you.
okay. Well, thank you. Thank you everyone for watching.